Hello. It's Monday, September 19th, 2017, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Hey everybody, welcome back and thanks for downloading. I do want to take another moment to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to download and listen to the show. I appreciate it so very much. So this episode, I've got another interview. I know some of you have reached out and suggested that the interviews aren't quite the right thing for the show, but there's some people that I really want to talk to and get on the show who I think have good ideas, that have good outlooks, have unique ways of thinking. Things that I think would be a benefit for some folks out there. This episode, I have my friend Julio on, and Julio is like the guy that I've wanted to interview when I thought of, hey, who would I like to have join me on my show to talk about mental illness, mental health, recovery, all that. Julio is the name that came up. He's just a fantastic guy. And I think you'll agree with me once you hear him speak. One little warning, this is kind of a long show, over an hour, which I know is completely unusual for this podcast. I had planned on potentially breaking it up into two parts, but while I was editing it and listening, I just couldn't find a spot to break it up. And I think it's a great episode interview in its entirety. So I hope you agree with me. Let me know on email, jamoalki@gmail.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/jamoalki, @jamoalki on Twitter, www.jamoalki.info, or you can text me at 248-648-1419. Let me know what you think of the episode. If you like it, please share it. If you're not a big fan, but you think there's some good stuff, please share it. If you have a moment, give me a rating on iTunes, 5-star, 4-star. I don't know what it has on there. But again, that helps me show up more frequently in searches for things like depression, suicide, depressed, and etc. So without any more babble, because this is a long one, let's get right to it. So I'm honored to have my friend Julio on the show with me here. The biggest reason I wanted to have him on the show is because I wanted my listeners to know who you are, Julio. Mm-hmm. You've been an important person in my recovery, whether you know it or not, since the first time Nora mentioned you to me and we got together and talked, and I've learned more about what you're doing. You've been a big inspiration for me, and so I'd like to introduce you to my audience. So, Julio, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
So, Julio, you've really been involved with a lot of different things, and I'd kind of like to first get you to introduce yourself, maybe tell us a little bit about your story, where you're from, if you're comfortable sharing your diagnosis with us, and things like that.
Of course. Thanks, JP. I mean, that was really nice of you to say. I'm honored. And I mean, I know you now for 3-4 years probably,
yep,
since we first started communicating, and you've been doing a great thing. And I'm happy that you're doing this podcast, which I'm a fan and I listen to it whenever I can because I'm so nice. Busy right now. But I do listen to all the podcasts. I have 4 podcasts that I listen to. It's not every time, but when I like to keep them when I'm running long distances or when I'm driving solo somewhere else that it takes a long time.
Yeah.
That's when I listen to my podcasts.
Yep.
And so anyway, I am the founder, creator, if you want to call it that, of the Defeat the Stigma Project.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Nora, your wife, current wife now, because at the time you guys were just dating.
Correct, right?
Found out about me, I guess, and what my goal was to run across Minnesota back in 2015 and bring the message of mental health awareness mm-hmm. to different places across Minnesota, different towns, and through social media, be able to reach out to as many people as possible. That was 2015. I ran across Minnesota. It was great because it went quite well. Decided to continue the project, and since we have ran now across Wisconsin, across Illinois this year, and we are planning, I'm hoping that we'll do a couple more states for 2018. And
oh, wow.
I myself, I'm already planning something special for 2019 that will take it'll take about a year to do.
Oh, is that a secret yet? Big unveiling coming in the future?
It's kind of a secret right now because there's a lot of logistics with it.
Okay.
But it'll be overseas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
awesome.
We'll go overseas instead of being just in the United States.
Wow.
Hopefully we'll take it overseas now.
Wow, that's great. So, just to step back a minute there. So you said, I don't know if you remember. I remember reading the story of how you came up with the idea for, and it was named differently when you first started, right? Break the Stigma. Is that right?
Yes, we were named Break the Stigma, but because we really never. The thing is, when I started the whole project, it was the idea of just doing it 1 year across Minnesota, and that was it. I didn't have any ideas to do it for more than that, but we came across the problem that somebody else had already trademarked the name,
right?
Break the Stigma, and then we have to change it. It was not a big deal. We just decided, it's good to know now. Yep. And then we ended up changing it to Defeat the Stigma, which I like it a lot better.
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about that today. I like it quite a bit more. Break the Stigma is kind of a traditional thinking of it, like, hey, we're going to smash the stigma, but breaking it is, hey, we're going to defeat it, get it down on the ground, put our foot on its throat, and just thrash it, get rid of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But that was last year before we started the run across Wisconsin that we run into that. It's basically a legal issue. The people who own the trademark, they were like, hey, we own the trademark, and they just let us know. They gave us even a chance to change the name, and there was no legal issues. It was just they have to let us know because they own the rights to it. So
right.
We were okay with that.
And they're an aligned kind of organization, right? They're the same thing.
Yes. I mean, that was the whole issues that they are also in the mental health industry.
Right.
And they were very kind to us. They gave us the time that we needed. They were super kind. Can't say anything. Other companies probably would have been really mad and say, hey, whatever, we'll sue you or whatever. But no, they were really cool.
That's awesome. So I remember the story though that you were running one day, and the thought just occurred to you that you wanted to educate others and talk about mental illness. Is that right?
Yes. What happened is in 2000, it's been 10 years now, 2007. My youngest boy was only 2 years old, and at the time I was still drinking a lot of alcohol, and that's how I coped with a lot of my mental illness for many, many years, probably 25 plus years. Wow. I was drinking pretty heavily, and at the time I remember getting home and my wife sat me down for like the third time and said, we're done. Either you're going to stop drinking, you're going to seek help, or you're going to move out. And I knew she was very serious, and at the time I thought, I'm just going to lose everything that I have. I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose my wife.
Yeah.
So I went cold turkey, stopped drinking. There was no more questions asked. I just stopped.
Wow. Good for you, man.
It was great to do it that way. However, I was not aware the reason why I was drinking so much was because I had this other issue with mental illness.
Okay.
It took me about a year to start getting those feelings of depression, and I always knew there was something wrong with my mental health issues. With my mental health. However, the alcohol was there, so that was great to keep it at bay. But not that it was great, but it was just what worked at the time. But once I stopped drinking about a year later, that's when I really started struggling with my suicidal thoughts, with depression. And it wasn't that I was sad anymore. It was that I was really, really sad for a long period of time. So it wasn't just like I was sad. I was really down at myself, and I was really, really thinking of the suicidal thoughts were really increasing at the time. So one of the things that I started doing was running, and I was just doing like 5Ks, stuff like that. The thing is, when I discovered the long distances, and especially more specifically the trail running, that's when things started to look better for me.
Okay.
I started getting happier, more endorphins, better life, got healthier, all that kind of stuff. The only thing is, I have this personality that if I just go all the way, or I don't do anything sometimes.
Okay. Right.
So with running, it came to like on the weekends I will spend easy 8 hours on a Saturday running.
Jeez. Wow. All right.
And I was loving it. It wasn't all the time perhaps running. Sometimes I was hiking. Sometimes I was just out there looking around. But I was mostly running. Sundays I will run in the morning, and I will go for like a 20-mile bike ride.
Wow. Okay.
Because that's how I kept myself, I guess, mentally healthy.
Right.
But one time, I guess I was running, and I was helping a friend of mine up in Carlton, Minnesota, which is the home of the Voyager Ultra Run. And I was helping her, and the whole idea of running for mental health came about at that time, and it was based on what Terry Fox from Canada did in 1980, and he ran across Canada for cancer research.
Wow. Okay.
He was raising funds for that, and if people want to know more about Terry Fox, they can just Google him. It's Terry Fox, and his run was called the Marathon Hope, I believe that's what it's called.
Okay.
But that was my inspiration. I was 11 years old when I saw this guy running across Canada, and I always had it in my mind that I always wanted to do something similar. So when it came to myself feeling better, I was doing much better. I was going to a therapist. I was on medication already.
Yeah, great.
So I kind of wanted to give back somehow, and that's how the whole thing started.
Wow. That's awesome, man. I love that story. I know it used to be up on your website, and I was looking today. I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
anymore.
We kind of bred it down a little bit more. I mean, it's because it's no longer about me, the project.
Right.
We have a board now, and we have a bunch of people who run for the project. So we just wanted to do it more like a general explanation of what we do. And so we kind of took my story down, and that was my decision, actually. I just didn't want to make it about me anymore, because it's not about me anymore. It's about the bunch of people who help us, and the bunch of people who are part of it.
Right. So I want to get more into that too, but so you say you ran across Minnesota, and then you mentioned ultra running, and so running across Minnesota wasn't like, okay, let's do this in one run. You took what, 6-7 days to get across, and you made stops along the way, talking with schools or any organization that would listen. Yes,
Minnesota. It took us about a year to get it planned. My idea was to run about 33 miles a day, because my whole thing about running is, especially for mental health, it's always been that I want to use running as a vehicle to get people's attention. That's my tool. During the run across Minnesota, we made a lot of plans to stop at schools and talk to kids about bullying and self-esteem, all that kind of stuff. And then we stopped at some clinics. Some clinics we just showed up uninvited. They didn't even know we were coming, and they were very welcoming.
Wow, that's great.
Yes, because we just saw, clinic, mental health, so we just walked in. And in Montevideo, we actually stopped at one place that was just basically a clinic, and they were super amazing that we were there. They didn't know we were coming, but they were super welcoming. We talked to them for a while. But the idea was to run about 33 miles a day, because that will give us time to run, to spend time talking to people, and to have a good day at night, to do a lot of the social media and stuff like that we were doing. So we weren't really, covering incredible amounts of.
Don't say that, man. 33 miles a day. That's pretty amazing. So
but 33 miles. I mean, if you're doing it in 5 hours, or if you're doing it in 6 hours, it gives you a good time to spend with people. And during the run across Minnesota, the whole idea was to reach out to people, period. When we would tell people that I was running across Minnesota, they were like, whoa, I don't even run a mile, or I don't even run that far to go to the store, or things like that. So they were intrigued about the running part. But I myself, what I did, that was the vehicle to open up the conversation. And then we started talking about the real deal, which is mental health and suicide prevention. And that's when the whole conversation started rolling. And people started saying, you know what, I know a lot of people with mental health issues. In fact, I've been suffering from it for many years, but I never told anyone because I don't feel safe around people. So that's to me, that was priceless, that we were able to get those conversations rolling. But yeah, we did about 240 miles across Minnesota.
Wow. Okay, so that's what, 8 days, maybe 7 days, 7.5, 8 days.
7 days. We did it in 7 days, whatever that came up to. Yeah.
Sure. Wow, that's great. I mean, so how big was your crew that first year?
The first year was only 3 of us, and then we had people showing up during the route, and people started running with us. I had a friend who ran 2 days with me, and then he left, and then other people showed up at the end or days before. But yeah, I think from the third day on, actually from the second day on, we always had some people showing up to run with us.
That's great.
Yeah, the only day that we didn't have anyone was the first day. The first day we didn't have anyone, but after that we had people every day.
And so, I mean, the running community can be a pretty tight-knit community, right? And
correct.
So I'm sure, friends that you had before you started this became closer friends. Other people came out of the woodwork, said, hey, I'm really glad with what you're doing. And just to get the support from them. So you're saying by the second day we had people coming out, and I'm assuming those were people who knew you already and knew what you were doing more so than just, or did you have folks who just, hey, I heard yesterday wherever on Facebook that you were doing this and I came out to run with you?
No, we had a couple of ladies from the Montevideo, Minnesota area who we had been in touch with them for a couple of months, but we never met actually. But they were amazing. They found schools for us to stop and talk to. They found a place for us to stay. They ran with us a couple of miles. And then after that, yes, there were people who we knew better, that we had more knowledge of from the past races.
Okay.
That actually showed up and ran with us.
Okay. So you're how many folks are with you now? You said you have a board for Defeat the Stigma, and it's the Defeat the Stigma Run program, right? Or
Defeat the Stigma Project. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
So right now I have Kevin and Kevin Shem and Steve Connolly. Those are the two guys that I do most of the stuff with. And as you know, we have a podcast show too. So we have Elizabeth Smith is another person who is part of the podcast show. Then we have runners all over the place. I mean, they're nationwide, people that just wear our gear in order to promote mental health awareness.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like 52 runners.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, obviously we sell merchandise and gear and mostly t-shirts. And the last time that we sold t-shirts was for raising money for transgender youth. I think we sold like 150 of those t-shirts, across the country. We saw some in New Zealand. It's kind of nice. It's been very nice to see people ordering from overseas too.
Yeah, that's great. That's okay. So it's just a small group of you who run the actual organization, and you mentioned the podcast, and you're in what, season 2 now? Is that right? Of the podcast?
Yes, we got done with season 2. I think our last episode was around June.
Okay.
And now we just took the summer off. We are talking about probably starting in January again, but we don't really have a date yet.
Okay.
We needed to take a good break because the first 2 seasons were super busy. We were doing sometimes 2 episodes per week, so it just got a little too much.
Yeah, absolutely. So your podcast, what's the focus of that? Is it, I mean, I'll admit I haven't listened to all of them, but it's pretty strictly, maybe not strictly, but pretty strongly centered around runners. Do I have that right?
We try to get some runners, and we do have very good runners. Some are talking about their story or their history behind running, how they started, all that kind of stuff. Some of them have been running because of either drug addictions, because of mental health. Not everyone, but some of them. The main focus that we always wanted to do with the project or the podcast was to bring these stories of people who are somehow interesting to talk to, but also mix it up with social awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by social awareness is we've done shows about sex trafficking.
Oh, wow.
And the impact that sex trafficking has in society and how it affects people mentally also.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of, we've done episodes on eating disorders. We had brought up parents who have lost kids to suicide, but we also have one episode that I was very, very happy that we did, and it was one where we have the wives of people who battle with depression and mental illness. And in fact, that was your wife, and it was my wife.
Yep.
So came up to the show, and the idea of that show to me was very appealing because it was about hearing what the other parties have to say.
Right.
Because most of the times you hear what you and I have to say. I mean, I deal with depression. I'm a survivor of suicide attempts. So, I mean, most people will listen to what I have to say. But we wanted to have a show where we could hear to the other side, the other people, how it makes them feel, what they have to go through with us. And I think Nora and Amy were amazing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic episode.
Nora was super eloquent. And I mean, she explained things in a way that even a kid could understand.
Right.
She was so good. I was not part of the show because I removed myself because Amy was going to be part of it. Mm-hmm. So I wanted her to be as open as possible.
Right.
And you know what? That she was. I listened to that podcast after it was done and aired. And that was the first time I listened to it. Mm-hmm. I didn't listen to it before that. And some of the things that Amy was saying, I was in tears. I was like, wow, I can't believe, she's able to get all this stuff out and finally say the things. And I was touched by it from both sides, from Nora and from Amy. It was just to hear them talk about how they feel to be, to love someone who has a mental illness. That was, to me, it was very special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've listened to a lot of podcasts, thousands of podcasts. And that's the only one that I've listened to more than once, and I've actually listened to it 3 times just because of how good it was, both and not just because, hey, I'm married to that girl, who is speaking, but Amy as well, and the whole show was just fantastic.
I mean, Nora was one of the people I contact for that episode because I known her through the trail community. I know how well spoken she was, and I also knew how honest she would be with that episode. And I believe I heard some comments about that episode, how it opened people's perspectives about the other side of mental illness. So because of that feedback, I was very, very pleased with it. I was so happy that we did it. And, it wasn't, like I said, I just booked these people, but it was Kevin, I believe it was Kevin and Steve who did the show. I don't remember if Elizabeth was part of it yet, but I know Kevin and Elizabeth, and Steve were there.
Yep.
They did a fantastic job with it.
Yep. Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I'm glad you guys did that. Thank you for putting that one out.
Yeah. But that's basically what we do. We want to educate people. We want to, I really want to, or I always say we want to educate people on so many other topics. I had a guy tell me once, I listened to your podcast and I was expecting to hear something about mental health issues and boom, you guys threw this episode that had nothing to do with mental illnesses. In a way, it has to, but the one about human trafficking.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, I was not expecting that. And it was a total eye opener of what goes out there. And we had a professional. We have a prosecutor from the Hennepin County, an attorney from there that was dealing with those issues or those cases. And we had Dr. Martin from the University of Minnesota, who is a professional, and she's an advocate on those topics. So it was a very good show. Yeah,
I know. If following you on Facebook and also DSP on Facebook, I see, just like you said, you kind of expect it to all be around mental illness. But no, I've seen the posts and followed links for sex trafficking, eating disorders, all those kind of things. And you guys really touch a lot of people with the information and the discussions you're putting out there.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to have an open mind and being able to give your audiences a little more sometimes and give them a little more for their thoughts, something they can think about.
Right.
So no, I personally, and I know the other three we're happy with the things that we have accomplished with it, just like you are with your show. I mean, you open up people's perspectives and you help them understanding a lot of the issues you go through personally, and you explain it very well. And that's one thing that you have about your show is that you are very, very clear passing on that message, and that's refreshing to me.
Oh, well, thank you. Geez, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I'm blushing with. Okay, so you said next year you're looking at running 2 states. Is that
correct?
Right? Have you released those states that people know, or is that still?
No, I mean, right now our idea is to do Oregon.
Holy cow!
And the idea is Steve Connolly used to live in Oregon. His kids were born there, so he loves that state a lot. So we decided that let's take a break from the Midwest and go over to the other side.
Okay.
And so now, hopefully...
Are you running Oregon east to west or north to south? Because wow.
That's the whole idea. We don't have the route yet.
Okay.
I think this is going to be just Steve. He's planning it. I'm going to be there for support, but he's going to have to pick out the whole route and all that stuff. I'll help with the other logistics to reaching out to organizations or whatever it is. But this is going to be his trip. This is going to be his journey. So I think most likely it's going to be east to west.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And the other one is Arizona. I have,
oh, wow.
There's a guy who reached out to us early in the year, or actually it was last year, late in the year. And I need to get in touch with him. He doesn't need much. He's going to do I believe his idea is to do a relay type of deal.
Okay.
Which is 400 miles, I believe, across. But they want to do a relay, probably 6 people, do like an ultra marathon relay. So I think they'll do it anyway. So I'm happy to say that that's probably a goal too. So Arizona, Oregon.
Wow. Okay. So it's first year doing 2.
Yes.
And then you're looking at maybe international the year after.
2019, it's going to be a little different than what we've done so fast. It'll involve more people.
Mm-hmm.
But well, let's talk about it. What the heck? You know, it's not a big deal. I mean, eventually we'll have to get it out there anyway. So let's be an exclusive.
Okay.
On this show. The idea is to get young adults
mm-hmm.
where we can mentor them. And what I like to do is go back home. And back home for me is Costa Rica. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
And I always wanted to run coast to coast.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, I think it's about 270 miles across.
Okay.
However, it's very rugged terrain.
Uh-huh.
It's a little more gnarly. And the temperatures vary a lot from really hot to cold and back to the ocean where it's muggy and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it's a little more challenging, but it's very doable.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is to bring 2 young adults from the U.S. and then find 2 young adults from Costa Rica. And these people have to be in some way linked, connected to mental health in some capacity.
Sure.
Either they're students, they're going to school for mental health in some capacity, or they have dealt with a mental illness themselves, and now they are in a better place where they can teach other people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a partner. I reached out to this lady. She's an amazing person, Ray, and I pay her. She's from Colorado. She's a coach. She is going to school for mental health. By that time, she'll be done with school. And also, she's just an incredible person who cares so much for mental health awareness. So the idea is that Ray and I will go with these 4 young people.
Okay.
And we'll mentor them throughout the run across Costa Rica. The idea is to stop and talk to schools down there of what we're doing, and also do video conferences with schools here in the U.S.
Oh, wow. Okay.
While we're down there, and just talk about what we're doing, where we're doing it. You know, we can talk about the importance of talking about mental health, the importance of not taking any shit from people bullying you at school, or self-image, all the things that come with being a kid, you know, or even any person. It could be, doesn't discriminate, I guess, at any age. But the idea is to mentor these 4 young people, and hopefully they will continue to work on this field for a long time, and hopefully they'll create their own journeys, their own projects, and they can continue the ripple effect and inspire other people down the road.
That is just fantastic, man. I am so impressed, and it sounds kind of hokey to say, but I'm proud just knowing you and knowing that this is something you're doing. Whatever publicity you're getting, it's not enough, and more people need to know about what you guys have going on.
No, I appreciate that, JP, and like I said, this is not about any more about one person. It's not about anyone. The idea is, like I said, is to reach out to as many people as possible, and the whole thing is started because a guy ran across Canada in 1980.
Yeah.
He was even doing it for mental health. He was doing it for cancer.
Right.
Research. The whole, and the thing is, hopefully when other people see what we're doing, they get inspired to do something for what they believe, or something that they are so passionate about. And it could be cancer again. It could be something else. You know, the thing is, the world needs more people to get involved and to be mentors. and to help other people. So it doesn't matter if it's a mental health thing or it's cancer. There are so many things still that we need to work on. And we all, I mean, you and I know someone who has suffered from cancer, just like you and I know someone who has suffered from mental illness.
Sure.
So, you know, if that person wants to do, one of the people wants to take what they learned through us and do breast cancer awareness, let it be. I don't have a problem with that.
Right. Okay.
Because the bottom line is, even people who suffer from a physical illness, some of them eventually also end up with a mental illness because of depression,
sure,
or anything else like that. So I mean, yeah, it's all about awareness. It's all about knowing the things that could happen. So I'm just happy that there are people who care.
Yeah, that's what we need, more of that, and it'd be great if everybody did, right?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, when I was running across Minnesota, we stopped some schools, and they were just, you know, elementary schools, really, really short kids. You know, they were pretty cute, you know, running around.
Yep.
I don't know, these kids were probably 8, 7, 9 years old, probably tops, and it was so cute to see them there asking questions, raising their hand, and I'm thinking, you know, crap, when I was that age, we never had anyone coming through my school.
Right, yeah.
Doing what we're doing, talking about the things that we were doing. And I'm hoping that one of those kids, even if it's just one of those kids, never forgets that experience that they had with us.
Yeah.
And they hopefully, even if it's 40 years down the road, they will say, you know, I remember a guy coming through my school doing something. I don't remember him. I don't remember his name, nothing, but it was neat. I'd like to try that.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fantastic. I was just thinking that same thing. Like, you know, probably half the kids are always going to remember that day that somebody came in and was talking to us about something. He was running across the state and he was trying to make people smarter.
Yeah, I mean, when you were a kid, people don't. When we were kids, people didn't give us enough credit, but we were like little sponges. I mean, everything that we saw, we still remember. There are some things that I remember when I was a kid that I can't even believe I still remember. But yeah, we were little sponges, and things stay in your head, and sometimes you may forget about the things, but they'll come back.
So a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go. My show doesn't run as long as your show does. So we talked about the other side of the story, who are our loved ones, how, you know, our mental illnesses affect them. So how does Amy handle all this time and effort that you're putting into all these different endeavors, not to mention the amount of...
Well, the only thing is, I mean, she's been amazing. She's been very supportive. I think when the whole thing started, she didn't know how much time this will consume. In fact, I didn't even know how much time a project like this consumes your time. I mean, I still remember some of the few months when I was just starting the whole thing. I was sleeping probably 4 to 5 hours a night. And that was, you know, it was 7 days a week. Right. It was never a stop. And going to events, going to that kind of stuff. In fact, I mean, there was a time where it really became of a burden to Amy and to the family, because I was spending so much time away from the kids and going to races, events, you name it. So I think now I'm more focused on the family. I still do a lot of stuff, but she also understands that it's something that keeps me alive, something that I'm passionate about. But I try to do my best to spend more time with the family, and the free time that I get is just for them. Because it can be a burden, JP. I mean, I'm telling you. There were months that I was gone every weekend doing something. Right. And it's just not fair for the kids. My kids are now 12 and 16, and one is going to be gone to college in a couple of years, and the other one is a boy. And I like today, I just I went to see his first football game, and for me, it was great to be there to see that. So I don't want to miss those opportunities now. So, but it can become pretty tricky. And it was for a while. It was for like a year. It got really dicey where I was gone a lot, and I have to realize that that was very unfair to them.
Yeah. So we're both lucky guys, aren't we?
I know you are.
Yeah.
I know I am. So yes, we are very lucky people.
We are.
I mean, your wife is amazing. Wow, she's just an amazing woman. And my wife, the poor thing, sometimes I'm thinking, should have kicked me out of the house a long time ago. And I'm sure she wanted it too. But, she also understands that I'm working on things. She has noticed my changes have been a lot. I have improved a lot.
Great.
Especially when it comes to the family time. So, I mean, it's been a blessing.
That's great. And that kind of leads me into my last question, and I didn't mean for it to work out this way, so I'll have another question yet. I don't want to end on a down note, but
you can ask any questions you want.
We painted this story, right, of an alcoholic suffering with mental illnesses, had this great idea, and this great idea has grown, and it's fantastic. But I mean, has it been all that? I mean, as we have mental illnesses, we have good days, bad days, good streaks, bad streaks. And I mean, I know that you've struggled a little bit in the meantime, but you've still persevered. And I was wondering if you could talk about that a little bit.
Just to go back a little bit, my first attempt to suicide, I was 10 years old.
10? Wow.
Yeah, I was 10 years old. So that was 38 years ago. That was my first attempt. And it didn't happen, I guess. I was lucky to still be alive, but I was dealing with a lot of personal issues with abuse and all kind of stuff.
Okay.
So by the time that I was 14, that's when I started drinking, and that's when I went on these couple of decades of just drinking. And I was always more of a social drinker. I wasn't the person who needed a drink all the time. The reason for that, JP, is with depression and PTSD and all that kind of stuff, as long as I was preoccupied doing some other things like work or anything around the house, I was fine. The problem is when I wasn't doing anything, I needed the alcohol.
Right.
That's when I needed the alcohol. And when I used to go on vacation with the family, Amy's family, up to fishing and stuff like that, and I was just there supposedly relaxing. I didn't have any physical activities like running at the time.
Sure.
We're talking in the 90s. So that's when I was absolutely drinking. I mean, if I would go on vacation, going through a 24-pack of beer a day was it was easy for me.
Wow.
But it was not always that way. Then I started the project. That was 2013. I had been since 2010 working on myself, working on my mental health. By 2012, I started going to my first therapist, and she was amazing.
Okay.
I started taking fluoxetine, which is Prozac, and it worked very well for me. So I was doing very well. However, after the run across Minnesota, I was already struggling a little bit with my medication. It wasn't working too well, and I didn't make the time to go and see my doctor. So by the time that June came, that summer of 2015, that's when I started struggling a lot. And there were a lot of things that I didn't know how to handle with friendships. I didn't know how to put boundaries with that stuff. So I struggled with that a lot. And August 10th, 2015, that's when my last attempt to suicide was.
Wow.
And this is after running across Minnesota and talking to people about suicide and stuff. It was very ironic. But that was my last attempt, and people don't really know how close I got to dying, but I should have been dead. Um, I think I wake up every day, and I was just talking to a friend today about it. There's not one day that I don't think about it.
Wow.
That I should have been gone. I think about it every day. There's not one day that I'm not grateful that I'm still here.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, and then after that I decided, it's time to get this better now. It's time to focus on myself. But no, they are very happy moments now. And one of the things, JP, that have changed a lot to me, for me, is that I learned to self-care. I learned to love myself. And I learned to be easy on myself, where in the past, a lot of people who deal with PTSD or any depression or anything like that, we are very hard on ourselves. For example, I used to spend hours sleeping and just thinking how freaking stupid I was because I was doing that and wasting my time, but I couldn't get off bed.
Right.
Whereas now, if I come through some sort of a episode that will last a couple of days, I talk to myself in a way where it is okay to feel this way. I've been through this before, and I know I'm going to get better.
Right.
So I don't come as hard on myself anymore, and it has really, really helped. It takes time to learn. It has to become a habit. But, this week has been, for example, this week is Suicide Awareness Week.
Right.
So for me, it's been really tough because in a way it's kind of silly to say this, but I'm kind of, at times I was feeling guilty about being alive and the people who haven't survived suicide. Don't ask me how that works, but that's how I was feeling.
Right.
But then I have to then talk to myself about, there's a reason why I'm here. And hopefully that reason is to help other people and to make it better for other people. To have a voice for those who don't have a voice yet. So, those things like that help a lot.
Right. Wow. So we're lucky that we have you doing that for us. That's amazing. And
no, it's JP is and it's great. And look at what you've done, man. You're bringing so much awareness with your show. I listen to a few of your shows now, and I have a few more to listen to. One of the things that I loved about you is the perspective, the openness that you have,
right, with
your mental illness. And there was an episode that I really liked where you brought one of your friends from Michigan. I think the guy was visiting you for a game. It was Timberwolves.
Yep, that was Dave. Yep.
Yeah, Dave, and you and Dave sat down, and it was kind of a time. It was kind of funny to listen to you too, because Dave, I don't know if he was uncomfortable at times at first, but then he got at ease with it and started talking. That was a very good episode. I loved that you brought that person. It was one of your best friends who didn't know how to ask the questions, but then as the episode rolled, he was more comfortable with it, and then it opened up a lot of very good conversations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we did that one.
Yeah, that was a really good one. But no, if I like to ask you a question. Can I ask questions?
You can ask anything you like. Yep.
Good. This is your episode, but for God's sakes, I want to ask questions.
Yeah, let's turn the microphones around here. Let's see. What do you got?
Well, at this point, how do you feel after? You've been open. We both went through our attempts, and I remember when yours happened because Nora was communicating with me. How do you feel now?
I feel a lot better prepared, a lot better equipped to handle, like you were saying, with if you go through an episode. I've actually been struggling this past week or two, and a lot like you were saying. I kind of come at it now with the knowledge that okay, I gotta kind of ride this out, and maybe don't succumb entirely to the self doubt and the self hate and all of that, and ride it through and come out on the other end and keep going forward. It's not always rainbows and butterflies, right? And you know that.
I I think everybody who's been through what we have with depression, they understand.
Yeah.
They totally understand,
and I've said it.
I think.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I've said it before, but, when I was diagnosed 10 plus years ago, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what depression was. It was bad. That's all I knew, right? And I was going through, having problems with my first wife at the time, and I remember leaving the session when it, it was announced, hey, you have major depressive disorder, which is, wow, you might as well have just held me down and slapped me around, words like that. And I remember leaving just thinking, holy cow, I'm never going to reconcile with my wife. How is someone going to love someone who's got the tag major depressive disorder?
Mm-hmm.
And then, after my last suicide attempt, which brought me out here, I didn't give it, I didn't give it a lot of credence. I felt like, 2 weeks after, I felt like, okay, I'm here. I should be doing better. Maybe it's time to start looking to go back to work, or, maybe it's time to do this. And I kind of was always internally working on some timeline where I thought I should be, as opposed to, what's reality. 2 weeks from trying to take your own life is probably not the time to be thinking about, heading back to Home Depot for work.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that, me too, man. I'm very glad that you're still here, because now you're doing a great benefit for others. Obviously you are educating people, and the education comes not to just the people like you and me, but the other side too. So when people listen to your show, and I have listened to some of them, when you read some of the feedback that you get from some of your listeners, it's just amazing what they have to say. Our goal with the project was always to teach both sides of the spectrum, the people who don't get it and the people who actually get it but don't know what to do with it. That was always our goal. Hopefully we'll continue doing that, and that's where the podcast show has been very helpful, to bring professionals to talk about those things and those questions that people may have. And sometimes we make it fun. We'll bring some athletes that don't even ever suffer from depression themselves or any mental health issues or anything. But again, it's just about mixing it up and give the audience something different once in a while.
Right.
And make it fun. Unfortunately, we have, sometimes we swear, sometimes we get mad at each other. So, I mean, we don't really practice anything. We just take the call and roll with it.
Yeah. And that keeps it really genuine though. And seriously, we don't get together and say, this is what we're going to discuss on this show, anything. We just make the call and basically talk to whoever. Just go with it. Yeah.
Go with it. No, but, I don't know. What would be your personal advice to people who are thinking of suicide now that you've been through it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I know what that mindset is like. And I know, at least I know what my mindset was like at that time. And I will confidently tell you that it wouldn't have mattered if what anybody said to me at that time, that was where I was headed. And, I have listeners who will, text me and say, hey, I've already typed up my letters for my husband and my kids. And, but I listened to your show, and so, I want to listen to the next one. And I'm like, okay. I don't know how to respond to that. My kind of default, what I tell everybody is that I can honestly promise that there is a path for everyone to better mental health. The problem is we don't know what that path is, and it's it's kind of a messy field, right? We have all these medications, we have, psychoanalogy or I've lost my vocabulary there.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't necessarily know how they all work together. So my promise is that there is a path for you, and maybe the one you're on right now isn't working for you, but keep going down it, and you're going to see a path shoot off to the side that's maybe going to bring you a little bit closer, and then another one to bring you a little bit closer. And as long as you're willing to keep trying, or at least keep looking, I guess. Trying is kind of, it has a little bit of a negativity to it. Like if you don't want to try. But as long as you're willing to keep looking, I promise that you can find your path.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally agree with you. And the thing is, the thing that I personally learned is that everything is better. I mean, when we are in that mind frame that you were explaining, it's easy to believe that nothing will ever again will be better.
Right.
But that's just your brain talking to you. It's just your brain lying to you. It's your depression. It's your illness talking to you, lying to you. Mm-hmm. JP, something that I don't know about you, man. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
But when I attempted my last suicide and I was able to, I remember that things were absolutely going dark. Mm-hmm. And I was positive I was on my way out.
Right.
And I knew that I lost conscience, and I don't talk about it too in details, but I knew this as much as I'm going to say about it. I was totally dark, and after a while, I don't remember how long, mm-hmm. but I came back.
Right.
And my first thought was, I don't ever want to go there again. Mm-hmm. What I'm thinking is, unfortunately, a lot of people who die by suicide, they don't have the chance. The people who actually go and die because they use force, and they weren't as lucky as you and I. Mm-hmm. I wonder how many of those people wish if they were able to come back, say, I wouldn't do it again, or I wish I would have not done it, or, I mean, it's always something that plays in my head.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to survive and know that I don't ever want to go there. When I was 10 years old, I didn't know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I honestly never even thought about it after that. I mean, I knew I was trying to kill myself, but I didn't know why. I didn't know what the hell was happening. When you are 46 years old, then you have a better understanding of a lot of things once you come back. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, when I came back from that experience, but it's always something that plays in my mind. What if we could ask those people who have died by suicide? I mean, obviously we won't be able to. But what if we could? Mm-hmm. I mean, how many of them would say was the worst decision they had, or how many of them was gonna say how much they regretted doing it?
Yeah, I've had conversations about this recently. Mm-hmm. And you talk to different people who have, survived suicide attempts, and some of them are, wow, it was the best thing that ever happened to me that I made it, and wow, I don't want to go down that path again. Mm-hmm. You get other people who come to, and they're really pissed off that, oh my God, I can't believe I'm still here. I have a friend who, was in the psych ward after her suicide attempt and was so mad that it wasn't successful that she tried again, in that following week while mm-hmm. in the care. And then you get folks like me where, when I came to, I was neither happy. I was not happy. I was not mad. I wasn't anything. It was just, oh, here I am. And mm-hmm. I was numb. And I'll be honest, I think I've kept a good deal of that numbness with me since then. I talk with my therapist, Alex, and we talk about, maybe it's, the medication mix. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Mm-hmm. I woke up and I was just numb, and, it took me a day to kind of clear my head enough to know, okay, hey, I got to contact somebody because I can't live here at the hospital. But even since then, I'm just kind of just numb is the best I can say, and I'm not, I've been through lots of the stages of being suicidal to having, major suicidal ideations to kind of passive thoughts about suicide. And, I'm somewhere on that spectrum right now, but I'm not suicidal.
Which is a very good distinction you are making there. Like I do still somehow, sometimes I have those ideations and then come and go, but now I kind of know how to deal with them in a better, more productive, positive way. And I know how to smoke the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So they don't stick around too long. I mean, yes, one thing that you were saying is totally true. Not every day is rainbows and butterflies and sunshines. I mean,
right.
We all go through things. However, I think now is the way I'm going to compare it is when you start running. When you start running for a marathon and training for a marathon. I mean, the first times you're running 3 miles and they freaking hurt like a mother.
Yeah.
You go in and you can't even lay down because you hurt everywhere. Right. It's just that time that you get better with time because you're learning more. You're learning about nutrition. You're learning about the distance you're covering. And basically the same thing with depression and with mental illnesses. You have to continue working on yourself.
Yep.
You have to trust that a therapist is going to help you. Therapists are tricky because there are some of them that are not going to be good for you because you don't have a rapport with them. They're not good for you, whatever it is. My whole thing is don't give up on therapy. Eventually you will find a good therapist. If not, ask your friends. And believe me, if you put on Facebook something, hey, or I don't know, some people are more private, so that's a bad idea. But ask people that you know that have been through it.
Right.
If they recommend a good therapist.
Yeah.
If they know someone. I have one good therapist, and I have recommended this lady to a lot of people, and they're very happy with her.
That's great.
So if anyone ever wants to know who my therapist is, I'll be more than glad to give him that name. It's in Bloomington, Minnesota. But if somebody lives here and they're looking for a good one, believe me, at least give her a try. And you can decide if it's good for you or not.
Sure. Yeah, and everybody's going to be different, and every relationship will be different. But I always tell people that they have to interview their therapist the first time they go. Oh,
absolutely.
And
don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask. Therapists are actually a pretty cool bunch of people. They know. They know, and they want the best for you. So if they don't work for you, they're happy if you understand that and you go to somebody else.
Absolutely.
It's all business. For them, it's all business. They want to help people. The reason why they're in that practice is because they're passionate about the practice and they want to help people. So if you go to somebody else, they're happy. They're happy for you. So it's all business. They're not going to get mad at you. So don't worry about the things. But like you said, very, very important to ask the questions, interview the person, what their experience is, what they've done with people like you. I mean, what kind of therapy they can provide you with. What works for you? I mean, are you a person who likes to read books? Are you a person who likes videos? Are you a person who likes to practice things? Are you someone who likes meditation? Are you someone who do it while running, doing while fishing? What is that works for you? But those things you learn as you go. I didn't know those things at first, so that was tricky to learn. But now that I've been, I was 5 years into it, I'm not afraid of asking questions. And I had a therapist that was horrible for me. However, I'm not saying that she was bad. It was just not a good combination. And I was honest to her. I gave her the feedback that I needed to give her. And she was fine with it. I was polite about it. I wasn't rude about it. But we didn't work well together.
Yeah.
and hopefully she'll help somebody else.
Yeah.
But for me, it was not what it worked.
Yeah, the therapist I was seeing back when I had my attempt for the, whatever it was, 2 months leading up to that, we were not a good fit, and I knew it. And I think I remember telling Nora that, it wasn't a good fit. But I was so intent on being able to say, hey, but maybe it's not a good fit, but I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a trap in itself, right? I mean, if you're in a situation anywhere in life where it's not the right fit and it's not working for you, you've got to make a change. And I was happy enough just saying, well, I'm doing something. I got a prescription from my general practitioner, and I'm seeing this therapist. She's a little kooky and whatnot, but look at me, I'm making it happen. And
mm-hmm.
I was naive at the time to think that there was something necessarily better, or there's such a big learning curve. And hopefully, things like you reaching out to people, me with my show, hopefully we're kind of leveling out that learning curve a little bit for folks, so it's not so tricky for them.
Yeah, and the other thing that people need to understand is how to take care of their body, because it's not just about your mental health. It's all a balance. You have to learn to take care of your physical health and your mental health. It's all combined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like right now for me, I can say that I'm the healthiest I've been physically. I mean, I still run, I still put on some miles, and I'm happy with it. But the diet is so important. There's a saying there, and I'm sure you heard this. Often we are what we eat.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna be eating McDonald's every single day. It's not gonna be good. It's just not gonna work.
Sure.
So we have to have a good balance. I mean, sleep well. Try to sleep as much as you can. I mean, things that are important for your body. There are people out there who I just, I'm so impressed with them because, I mean, their body is their temple,
mm-hmm.
and they understand that. I still have to do a lot of work on that right now, but like I said, there are some times that I have to be easy on myself and not so hard, just to survive. But that's no excuse for me. I mean, I know better, and I'll be working on it to get back to where I was 5 years ago. I was healthier and doing good things. But it's very important for people to understand that it's a balance. You have to have a good physical health and a good mental health
mm-hmm.
for your body to work properly.
Yep.
Same with a car. You don't have a good carburetor, doesn't matter how good everything else in the car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, it's imperative. It's very important, and I suggest people to do a lot of research on diets. There are so many things you can do for your health.
Mm-hmm.
So much easier. And one of the things that I do is I put excuses. Oh, I don't know how to cook. Oh, I don't know how to do that. But you know what? That's just an excuse for me. Like, you can learn. And actually, I can cook. I just don't like it that much. So,
right.
I can do it.
The cooking is not as bad as much as the cleanup afterwards, I think. So,
I hate the cleanup, man. That's the worst thing. But I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that you're doing this, JP. I'm glad that you're doing well.
Thank you.
I enjoyed your company, man. We've been out for coffee before, and we had an amazing time.
Yep.
You are a very smart guy with a very good sense of humor. So, I mean, we're lucky that we have you around. I mean, I can't wait to be able to spend more time once I get a little less busier with my schedule. But I know we have like a family reunion here. Hopefully the four of us can get together. But
that'd be great. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that I got to meet you, man, when I did, and listening to your show has been amazing. But again, one other thing is I have to give a lot of kudos to Nora because she was so supportive of you, man.
Yep.
A lot of people could have said, screw this, I'm leaving him. It's not my problem anymore. Yeah. However, she remained there. She stayed there. She was there for you when the things got really hard, and she's still there for you. And That support is amazing. If people are listening to this show, I just want to say for the family members, it's extremely hard to deal with someone that is negative all the time,
Right.
or somebody who is bitching about everything like I was, or negative, or things like that. It's hard for them to understand, but they are people like Amy and Nora who they understand there's an illness. I think once Amy understood there was a real illness, and it was just not like a middle age crisis that I was going through. And she started reading more. She actually started picking up books to read about mental illness and stuff. And that to me meant the world, that she was educating herself on how to deal with me. And that also allowed me to open up more to her about the things that I needed from her. But I also asked the questions over the things that she needed from me. So it's both ways, straight, I guess, what I'm trying to say here, give and take.
Yeah, I've often said that I would be just a festering mound of JP if it weren't for Nora. I don't like to think about where I might be if I didn't have her kind of, one, pushing me and keeping me going, but also just offering that kind and knowing support of just, okay, you're having a bad day. I get that. Okay. Tell me, if there's something I can do to help you, let me know. Otherwise I'm here for you, and let's just take it one day at a time.
Yeah. That's, it's just amazing. The support that we got is just priceless. I think, unfortunately, some people out there don't have that support. However, I just want to tell people that people do care, man. There are a lot of organizations out there who really care. That's another thing that people will say, nobody cares, and that is so far from the truth. People who care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everywhere you go, you'll find people who care. And
yeah, some people may be busier with their lives. Some people may be, but if you tell someone what's going on and you're open with them, make sure. You open with them. The other thing is, some people may not know how to react to that. They may not know what to say to those things. But that's where you can tell some of the things that you're going through and how you can be helped. And sometimes it's about just, some people want company or to say it. Doesn't mean that you want to do it. When I say that I still have suicidal thoughts, I'm not saying that I want to kill myself.
Right.
What I'm saying is that it's something that is always going to be in my head. It's something that is there. I just know how to deal with it now. I'm not saying that I just want to go in and kill myself. That's not it. But it's how some people interpret that too, and how we have to be our own best advocates and somehow teach others as well.
Yeah, I always tell people there's always someone to talk to. Maybe they're not in your house right now, but there are, chat lines, crisis lines, support groups. NAMI has great groups. Depression Bipolar Support Alliance, DBSA, has great groups you can go to. And you're not as alone as you think you are. And, while every experience is unique in itself, if you just start listening to others or start talking to others, you're going to find out you have a lot more in common, and feeling that closeness and that lack of aloneness is really invaluable.
Yes.
To anyone who's suffering.
And yes, and you're going to come across people who absolutely don't understand it to a point almost to refuse that there is a mental illness is a condition, but you can't do anything about those people. Some people still believe the planet or Earth is flat.
Right.
We can't do anything about that. Not everybody thinks that way, and if you come through some of those people, don't give up, because most of the people already understand that there's a huge stigma with with mental illnesses. And when I go to schools and talk to kids and stuff like that, I always like to say, the stigma comes down to two things, and it's basically misunderstanding and discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put it out there in those terms, people understand, and they want to get educated. And that's where you and I come. That's where our roles are right now. Yep. We need to educate people on the things that are real. I mean, I'm glad that we're having this conversation now instead of not being here. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yep. Yeah, I am too. I was thinking that, I wish I could have more conversations like this with you. We opened up and I was talking about how I've been struggling, the past few weeks. And as true as it was when we met for coffee that last time, after talking with you, I just feel more energized and more able to get things done. Like I've got ideas popping through my head now of, things I want to do. I want to get, better in shape. I've been working on it, but I want to do more. I want to run more. I want to write blog posts. I want to record other episodes. It's amazing just how, communication and touching base with a single person can do that for you. So thank you for that.
No, man, I'm telling you, I appreciate everything that you do, and I think the energy that I get from you is mutual. I have an admiration for you, man, and what you do. And if there's anyone who is fit, I guess, to do this kind of shows is you. You have a curiosity, man. You have a will to learn and to educate people. So, I mean, I'm glad that you're doing this. I'm glad this.
Thank you.
When I didn't even know your podcast was up. I think I kind of knew that you had the idea of doing it, but I all the time it's like, whoa, it's up and running.
Sure.
And I listened to it and I didn't know what to, it's the first time you don't know how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. I'm sure just like when people listen to our first 5 ones that we did, probably like, oh my God, this is a joke. But with yours, we're really good. And I still enjoy the honesty of your shows. And that's what people love, is the honesty. Don't give people bullshit, because they'll smell it. They'll smell it 100 miles away. So don't ever give people bullshit. Just give them honesty. Even if you're not right, even if something, you can always correct it later on, but just be as honest as you can with everything.
Yep. That's what I try to do. So
yeah, I know you do well with that stuff. You're freaking amazing when it comes to that stuff. So I have nothing but good things to say. So, and I hope your audience gets bigger. I mean, obviously we work together. Obviously we would like to promote you and
thank you, and
get you out there, because it's a service. It's a service for everyone who listens to it, including myself. So there are some things that you have said in the past that I just go like, wow, I never thought of that. And it's good to have that other perspective. And it has helped me. It has helped me to open up my own internal conversations that I have with my mind, with my little brain. And it has helped a lot. So it's good, man. It's all good. I'm proud of what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Julio. That means a lot to me.
Yeah. But I know that your episodes are a lot shorter than the DSP. The DSP can go for like two hours. I know. And we just talk about all kinds of stuff. Yep. People are tired of us by now, but
yeah, I was gonna say it's 9:22, and usually every night between like 9:20, 9:30, we get a big old freight train that rolls by the house, and the whole house shakes. So I don't think anybody wants to listen to that going on.
Yeah, you're about to get it. So no, I mean, wow, we cover an hour and a half, and I feel like we just started talking. Yeah. So that's how amazing it's talking to you, man.
Yeah.
That's
we definitely have to get together.
Absolutely.
Once things cool down for you a little bit.
Yeah, and hopefully what we can do is bring you onto our show too and talk more about things. And
that'd be awesome, man. Anytime, let me know.
Yeah, we'll talk to. I have to talk to the guys and see when we want to start our project again
Yeah.
and see how we want to do it. But we just have to take a break because the last 2 seasons, seriously, it's like there were times we were doing 3 episodes a week, and it got to be too much.
Yeah, that's
for
a
them.
lot. Sure, because that's a lot of post production too. After that, not just the talking.
That's the whole thing,
Yeah.
man. That's what people don't understand, is the post part of it that really gets stinky.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
No,
so you offered to give up information on your therapist. So if someone wanted to get a hold of you, how could they find you?
They can send me an email to the Fit the Stigma Project at gmail.com.
Okay.
And if you want to put it up there on this link, that'll be great.
Yeah, I will, absolutely. I'll put a link to the website as well.
Yeah. Or they can go to the website and we have the contact there. And I usually get the contact. If Steve is not available, I'll get it myself.
Okay, great.
But whatever it is, just shoot me an email asking about the therapist you talked to about with JP, and I'll be more than glad, man.
That's great. Thank you so very much, Julio.
Yeah. I'm honored to have been part of this, JP, and we'll talk again, man.
Yep, the honor's all mine. Thanks, Julio.
Thank you, man.